Welcome. We're right on the hour, so we might as well get started here. Welcome again. Thank you for taking the time, first and foremost, to come and listen to my talk. I'm really excited about this. A little bit nervous too, which is kind of strange because I don't typically get nervous about these things, but I guess when you're on somebody else's platform, it tends to happen. So I wanted to first and foremost say that these types of events are so extremely valuable for your own professional and personal growth and development. So when they come along, it's really important that you take advantage of that. When I was practicing hands-on massage, we didn't have things like this. And I'm sure you other veteran massage therapists out there know exactly what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to as well send a huge shout out and thank you to Mark and Amanda on behalf of all of us for putting this on and providing an avenue for everyone to grow and learn within their careers through exposing them to all these wonderful, talented industry leaders that we've been getting to watch today. I've been very impressed with the information that I've been learning. And yeah, it's just absolutely amazing to see the industry leaders that we have in this industry. I don't know what's going on with my microphone stand. It seems to be wanting to slowly move up. I think it's haunted. So let me formally introduce myself. My name is Richard, and I'm a retired massage therapist, former massage therapist, clinical hypnotherapist, published author, and professional growth and development coach for the bodywork industry professionals. And I'm also approved CE provider through the NCB TMB. That's for my industry friends in the States. If you're part of my Facebook group, Massage Therapist Success Mindset, or even a student of mine who has enrolled in one of my courses, and you'll be a bit more familiar with who I am and my story. I'm originally from Edmonton, Alberta, where I started my massage career, and I lived in Calgary for 10 years. And for the past year, I've been in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. So my background is I graduated massage school in 2002 and clinical hypnotherapy school in 2006. And I practiced hands-on for almost a decade before I decided to spread my wings and expand my awareness into different avenues. So I went back to university and I studied occupational health and safety with a large emphasis on behavioral safety. And after dipping my feet in the corporate world for roughly about 6 years and discovering my own love for adult education from all the training that I would have to do in that industry for new employees, I decided to change vocations again to follow my true passion for personal growth and professional growth and development coaching. And it took me a while to figure out what value that I wanted to bring to you guys today. And I figured that this would be a great opportunity to get right back to the basics of pretty much where everything starts, in the mind. And, my own interest in the studies of the human mind began when I was younger, where I had struggled with some pretty bad social anxiety and minor bouts of depression. And I found that nothing seemed to work in alleviating me from those horrible emotions until I discovered hypnotherapy. And that's where I also discovered the deeper meaning behind my anxiety and my depression, which in turn empowered me to begin making some big shifts in my own awareness and to take back control over how I felt. And I was also able to utilize that in all aspects of my career. And in the years to follow, I was so intrigued with the power of how the mind works, and that I dedicated myself for several years to the study of how my own subconscious mind worked for me personally, and how I could use that knowledge in turn to help others as well. And for some of you, this information might come across as a little bit out there, while for others, it might be like preaching to the choir, or maybe it's exactly what you need to hear right now. Regardless of where you are at right now on your own self-awareness journey, for the next maybe hour, I ask that you keep an open heart and an open mind, as well as a willingness to learn something new. Each one of us are on a personal and professional growth and development journey. And I believe that if you're here right now listening to my words, then there is something here for you to pay attention to that will help you in some way on your path, whatever that might look like for you. And, we're always being guided to specific pieces of information within our awareness that we're meant to be paying attention to. However, because of free will, whether you accept or reject that information, that's really going to be entirely up to you. I'm not here to convince you of anything, only to potentially raise your conscious awareness to the possibilities that maybe you have not considered before, which will help you on your own personal and professional growth journey. And, I'll do my best to explain it in a way that hopefully you'll understand. So that being said, I want to start off with this. What if I told you that you have been tricked to believe that you're somebody you're actually not? And what if I told you that most of your thoughts are not even your own? What if I also told you that you are being manipulated by your environment to act out certain scenarios, and you are being made to self-identify with those outcomes as who you are and what you're capable of achieving in your career and even in your life in general? When I say environment, I'm talking pretty much about anything that you have come to identify with in your life. So your education, your government, world events, the opinions and beliefs of strangers, the opinions and beliefs of those you're closest to, and the media that you consume your information from about what's happening outside of your inner reality bubble. The thing about all of this is that you don't even know that you're being manipulated because you're not consciously aware of it. And in fact, it's all very unconscious. You're literally being hypnotized and probably don't even know it. Let me explain. There's something extremely fascinating when it comes to the human mind and consciousness itself, which, on a side note, scientists still don't even know exactly what consciousness is. And that fascinating aspect is that consciousness has a direct effect on the outcomes you get within this experience we call life, from how much money you earn in your career, the types of clients that you attract into your business, your temperament, the relationships you find yourself in, and really any belief or opinion that you have about any given topic. Here is something that you might also find very interesting as well, is that it's been scientifically proven that memories of consciousness can be stored in water. Yes, water. You might be wondering, why am I talking about water? Well, because it's going to help you understand a bit more about why you might act the way you do to get the results that you get within your life and even your career. This is Dr. Emoto. Some of you might recognize him. Dr. Emoto, who was a respected Japanese researcher, proposed that human consciousness has an effect on the molecular structure of water. Dr. Emoto studied the effects of spoken words towards water molecules and measured their molecular structure both before and after words were spoken to it with emotion, such as thank you make me sick, love and appreciation, as well as what water looked like under a microscope both before and after prayer. These results were nothing short of amazing, and it showed that consciousness can alter the molecular structure of water. Also, Austrian inventor and environmentalist Viktor Schauberger discovered and proved that water is in fact a living thing. I was reading an article the other day about Viktor Schauberger, and it said that as a young man, he would sit by a rushing stream and observe its movements. It was these observations that eventually convinced him that our mechanical view of what water is was actually false. He realized that water, like another living organism, has memory and responds in accord to its surroundings. Schauberger made this clear when he explained water's natural ability to move upwards in a healthy forest ecosystem. He made this conclusion after studying a stone roof-covered spring. When Schauberger took away the stones and the spring became exposed to sunlight, the spring water slowly disappeared. However, when he put back the stone roof, the water seemed to magically reappear. It was as if the Earth's water had a memory of the stone-covered area and in turn responded to their presence by seeking them out through an upward movement from deep beneath the Earth. Now, I did some research on this and I found this idea was very fascinating, yet not overly surprising, that water can act as a storage unit for memory and is actually a living thing. And I came across another experimentation that was conducted on water's consciousness, which is more recent and done by an actual university. Scientists from the Aerospace Institute of the University of Stuttgart in Germany conducted a study in which a group of students were asked to collect a single droplet from the same body of water. When researchers observed the collected droplets, they were amazed by what they found. They had discovered that the microscopic pattern of water droplets from the same source varied from each other drastically depending on the student who collected it. The droplet of water seemed to be responding to the person who collected it, thereby creating a unique microscopic pattern for each individual. The scientists decided to conduct a second test in which they put a flower in a body of water. When they examined the droplets that were collected from the water, they found that every droplet produced the exact same pattern. But when they placed different species of flower in the water, the droplets collected showed a completely different pattern. It was concluded by these scientists that water indeed has memory. Now, here's where this comes into play for you and why I'm talking about this in the first place. When one compares these results to the fact that over 70% of the human body from birth is literally composed of water, and it has been proved that water has the ability to store information, it concludes that every drop of water in our body is potentially a storehouse of memories and random bits of information, which plays a huge role in how we interact with our own environment and the circumstances we naturally gravitate toward. Even the tears we shed might contain information about the sad memories that triggered them. So if we are primarily composed of water, this would as well conclude that through genetics, you are also the living sum of all of your ancestors, which means that the memories of your parents and their parents before them and so forth have an embedded code within those chromosomes and DNA. And since you are a physical byproduct of your ancestors, it in turn would say it has a direct impact in how you perceive your world, the fears you carry in your mind, your desires, and even your physical ailments through stored memories within your body's own natural water. This is my nephew, Ethan. I know he's a total cutie. Anyways, Ethan was 6 years old in this photo, and he had just left the dentist for his first ever visit. When Ethan went to the dentist, he had a complete and utter meltdown. We came to find out that his mother, who also has a very deep-rooted fear of the dentist, something of which she never talked about with her son Ethan, Ethan exhibited the same fears and emotions that his mother felt each time she had to go to the dentist, without any conscious conditioning or prompting from his parents to feel that way. This is a great example of how children can adopt the fears and beliefs of their parents without any sort of conditioning to have this adverse reaction to something that he knew absolutely nothing about. He had no previous life experience with going to the dentist, so it would only be logical that he would have no preconceived ideas of what that experience was going to be like for him. But that specific reaction of going to the dentist, which again was something he had zero previous experience of, it had to have come from somewhere. It's very interesting, and it opens the doors to the previously discussed studies that the very water we are made up of already has a set of codes and memories from where we originated from, our parents, their parents, and so forth. It's also no secret that our thoughts and emotions can have a dramatic effect on our own health outcomes. In fact, when we are chronically experiencing emotions like stress, worry, anxiety, and fear, these low vibrational emotions have quite a compromising impact on our immune systems. This means that the thoughts you think most of the time can directly manipulate the cellular structure of your own body and how your body functions as a healthy unit. And it's good to keep that in consideration for your clients as well. My interest in this topic rests in what the effects that our chronic thoughts and emotions also have on our behaviors and the outcomes that we get in our lives. More specifically, the outcomes we get in our careers and our life accomplishments. Something that is important to understand is that you are a conscious electrical signal powering your body, which is a water-based system. As we have already seen through Dr. Emoto, Viktor Schauberger, and the scientists at the University of Stuttgart, water molecules transform their patterns based on the stimulus which is impressed on it. So in this case, it's our own consciousness, which again, I want to remind you that scientists don't actually know what consciousness is. They know it exists. They know that there are different types of consciousness, but they are puzzled by where exactly it's housed in the brain, or even if it's part of the brain at all. I've learned through my own 14 years as being a clinical hypnotherapist, and from my studies of the human mind, that consciousness is not limited to our physical bodies. I believe that consciousness is a field around our physical bodies. It's the literal awareness of our physical bodies and of our current surroundings. There is something else that I want to share with you, which is not only where those memories, thoughts, and behaviors play on repeat without you even being consciously aware of it, but it's also where 95% of the outcomes you get in your bodywork career and your life in general come from. It's called your subconscious mind, or as some people call it, your unconscious mind. Just like your conscious mind, your subconscious mind isn't located in the brain. In fact, it's no more part of your brain than it is part of your fingernail. Your subconscious mind is within every cell of your body and is indeed what controls the functions of your body, from your breathing, the beating of your heart, your body's natural ability to heal itself without you having to consciously direct it to do so. And again, like the conscious mind, the subconscious mind baffles scientists because it's not a physical thing and they don't even know exactly what it is. It has no shape, it has no color, it has no smell. It's quite literally no thing. So if our conscious minds, which is an aspect of our consciousness, is tied into all of our past memories, experiences, traumas, lessons, habits, bodily functions, etc., it proves that it has a direct and powerful influence on how we perceive and experience this thing that we call life. So that begs the question, how do we take control of it and have it working to produce desirable outcomes that benefit us rather than hinder us? How do we consciously choose to control the very thing that determines how we experience life, to shift us out of our current outcomes into ones that we would prefer to have if we don't even know what the mind looks like or even what it really is? This places us in a strange, ambiguous sort of situation because it's the fact that we as humans cannot change something that we don't have an actual mental image of in our minds to associate it with. You cannot change something that you don't understand. You can't change something that you don't have a mental image of, and even more so, that the majority of people on this planet aren't even consciously aware of. I'm going to correct myself actually a little bit. You can change it, but you're not aware you're changing it, which is what happens all the time anyways. Here's the good news, however, it is completely possible to influence how your own subconscious mind processes information to produce the desired outcomes that you're wanting in your career. And other people are doing this all the time. The reason why I know this is because your environment is already doing this for you. Like mentioned before, through the media, the government, even those closest to you, you are being hypnotized and manipulated by your environment to think and act a certain way, which keeps you conforming to other people's or organizations' ideals of what is good for you and what they want for you. However, I feel, and probably a lot of you feel the same way, that there is a big shift happening, an awakening, if you may, and a lot of people like yourselves in this world, are understanding that this information and consciously using it to achieve the successful careers that they have, the optimal health that they want, and the lives that they want to live. Several years ago, I began consciously changing my own subconscious programming for myself in a very short period of time, and my life completely changed for the better. And this is why I'm so passionate about the work I do in empowering our bodywork industry professionals to use this knowledge to apply it to their businesses to create the careers and ultimately the lives that they want to experience. Part of what makes this information so powerful is that it shakes up your perceptions and removes the industry stigma of starving healer syndrome, or the many limiting beliefs that you might have about how successful and accomplished you can become within your own bodywork career, or really any goal that you might want to achieve. However, in order for you to make some serious mindset shifts so that you can embody the confidence of someone who is already successful within your chosen craft, so that you can purposely choose to set worthy goals and work toward things that you want to achieve for yourself, or even let go of past traumas in a way that is healing for not only your mind, but also for your body, you must first create an image for yourself of what the mind might look like if it was an actual physical, tangible thing. And also understand how your mind creates the types of outcomes you get, of which, once you begin to implement, you can begin to manipulate those results in your favor. But first, you need that mental image of what the mind might look like. And I want to get you started on that here. So let me introduce you to someone called Dr. Thurman Fleet. Dr. Fleet was a popular chiropractor in the 1930s in San Antonio, Texas. He created a theory and process around how to heal the body that became so wildly popular, so much so that he had to move his practice 3 times to accommodate the fire occupancy code at that time because of the amount of people showing up at his practice due to the results that he was getting for others. Dr. Fleet understood that if you want to change your outcomes, health, or any life situation for that matter, that you first need to change your thinking. There are a lot of opinions and advice on how to create wealth, health, and overall success in your career and life in general, but there is something that most every accomplished individual can agree on, and that is how you think and how you feel most of the time is going to determine the actions you take toward any given topic, and therefore the outcomes that you experience in your life. Isn't it interesting how this knowledge has been around for so much longer than you and I would have thought? Dr. Fleet understood that we as humans think in pictures. And if people cannot picture something in their minds, they will have much trouble changing that thing that they cannot associate an image with. So Dr. Fleet created a simple diagram of what he could best describe as the function of the mind, which in a nutshell contains how the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and the body works as a unit. Dr. Fleet would explain through the diagram that I'm about to share with you. This isn't the diagram, the one that I'm about to share with you, exactly how the mind functions. And this is exactly how I'm going to explain it to you as well, so that you have a much better understanding of the processes of how your thoughts indeed create the types of outcomes that you will experience in your career. After Dr. Fleet began to coach his clients on understanding these concepts regarding the mind, he discovered they, as in his clients, began to see dramatic improvements in not only their health, but other areas of their life as well. It truly became a holistic approach to his practice. So hopefully you're ready for this extremely complicated, very confusing diagram. Ready? As you can see, I was just being a little bit of a brat, but making you think that this is a super confusing diagram when it's really actually quite elementary. This is called the stick person diagram. The stick person diagram isn't complicated, as you can see. In fact, is quite simplistic, which in my opinion makes it that much more powerful for our brains to process and to understand. So let me explain to you how this works. The top half of your head represents your conscious mind. Numerous cognitive neuroscientists have conducted studies that have revealed that the conscious mind represents only about 5% of our actual cognitive abilities. So things like decision making, emotional responses, behaviors, and even actions, your conscious mind is where you are truly present in the moment. It's also known as being in the zone for a lot of athletes, which drastically improves their overall performance. It's literally what meditation strives for you to accomplish, being present in the here and now. You consciously also get information through your external environment with your five senses, which are seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, and obviously hearing. And from there, you process all that information through your brain as electrical signals, which is interpreted through the subconscious mind and into the body, where it can be acted out and expressed in some way. The bottom half of the head represents your subconscious mind. And think of your subconscious mind kind of like a supercomputer, which has access to a full database of beliefs, most of which we acquire from our environment up until about the age of 8 years old. These beliefs can be about anything, really. They can be about others around you, the economy, the world you live in, even about your own self-image, which are expressed and acted out through the body in what we call habits. Habits are 100% subconscious because we do them without even really having to consciously think about it. It's a literal autopilot mechanism inside of you. It's what keeps everything running like it should. If you ever get the chance to pick up the book, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, I recommend you do so. He explains it beautifully in there. Think of it kind of like driving a car. When you begin learning to do this, at first you had to be very conscious and present about the positioning of your hands on the steering wheel, the timing of your foot on the gas and brake pedals, which hand to use for your signal lights, etc. After a while of repetitively practicing these actions, you began to form a habit, which enables you to consciously be somewhere else thinking about what's for dinner or a conversation that you had with, say, your mother-in-law, while your subconscious mind uses your body as an instrument to express the program that you gave it to, the habit, to execute the task of driving a car. It's literally your internal built-in autopilot. Your beliefs work the same way. And all a belief is something that you have been told or have told yourself over and over again. When you're a child, this is done almost instantaneous because you primarily operate through your subconscious mind. Whereas when you're an adult, you have that conscious mind developed, which it also acts like a barrier to your subconscious so that you can accept or reject information as it comes to you. And unlike the conscious mind, your subconscious cannot accept or reject information. It simply follows a directive that's impressed the most onto it. If that wasn't the case, then anything that you've been told, you would have accepted it as fact and acted out in accordance to that information that you were given. I hope that you're still following me with this, but if it does seem a little confusing, not to worry, because you'll understand more of how you can begin impressing the information that you want your subconscious mind to act on near the end of this presentation, as I have some fun mind hacks that I'll be sharing with you that you can start doing on yourself right away. I think I mentioned before that 95% of your outcomes are a byproduct of what's going on within the subconscious mind. Maybe I didn't mention that. This means that 95% of your daily actions are habitual, of which you have been programmed to respond with. Therefore, the results you get can be easily predicted by the beliefs that you hold about any one given topic, such as money, relationships, health, your business, even the types of clients you attract into your business. You can figure out a belief that someone has about something specific by looking at their current outcomes and past experiences within that area or topic. The body represents exactly that, the body. Now, keep in consideration that the mind is present within the entire physical body, brain and all. But for the simplicity of understanding how the mind operates with the physical body, Dr. Fleet separated it within this diagram for you. The body is the instrument of the mind. So in other words, it's the physical manifestation of how you think and how you feel most of the time. For the time we have in this presentation, I'm not going to go into a full lesson of the symbiotic relationship between these three aspects. However, if you are interested in learning more about how you can gain an even deeper understanding of this important and essential foundation to creating lasting positive changes in your own outcomes and learning how to apply it essentially to creating positive outcomes and changes for you quickly, then I'll provide some additional information on how you can learn more about this fascinating topic near the end. It's important that I share even this small amount of information with you to get you started, because I want to empower you with the understanding of how your thoughts create the outcomes that you get within your career and your life in general. So again, just to recap, your conscious mind is your analytical thinking mind, which can accept or reject information. And think of your conscious mind kind of like the pilot in the cockpit who determines the flight path. It programs, the pilot programs it into the onboard computer, which in this case would be your subconscious mind. Okay. So if you're still a bit confused about what your conscious mind is, it's what you're listening to me through right now. Granted, your mind hasn't wandered to what you're going to be making for dinner tonight. The subconscious mind controls 95% of your functions and actions. It's literally the subservient emotional mind which processes information as truth, and it seeks out instances in your environment to validate and express those commands that has been given through habits. And it does this through your body, which is then express everything through your behaviors and your actions, which ultimately gets you the results that you keep getting in your life and in your career. All too often when I chat with other massage therapists about their professional growth, and when they give me all of their reasons why they feel they're struggling within this industry, I can see a common theme that arises within all of them. And that theme is that they are living by a specific set of subconscious beliefs or programs, kind of like we're discussing, that are driving their results, even though sometimes they might consciously want something different, but yet they're unable to achieve it, and they get confused as to why. Well, this is why. We refer to this as the knowing doing gap. You consciously want something for yourself, but you seem to be unable to obtain that desired state for whatever reason. And trust me when I say that, it has nothing to do with your abilities as a massage therapist, as a body worker, whatever healing art you're in. It has nothing to do with your abilities as you as an individual. Rather, it has to do with the beliefs that you hold about yourself. In my book, I talk about a body worker who I had a conversation with regarding her own growth within her career, and especially her income earning potential. This particular individual worked very long hours for a spa, and she didn't get paid a whole heck of a lot either, which is a common theme I sometimes see in this sector. In fact, the spa was only paying her a measly 30% of her client earnings, and that's gross income. If you do the math, by the time that she takes her taxes off, she's probably only earning about 20% net income, I would say. On the surface, you would look at this and maybe you might even say, well, maybe she's not actually a massage therapist. Maybe she doesn't, probably she doesn't even have formal college training, and more than likely only does spa relaxation massage. It's a giant misconception that if you work within the spa sector, then you probably aren't even a registered or licensed massage therapist. This particular therapist actually had over 4,000 hours worth of massage therapy education and was at the top of her class and had been a massage therapist for almost a decade. Yet she was only earning, really, if you think about it, 20% of what her clients came in and paid the spa company to get a massage. When I asked her, why are you working there? She gave me a series of real excuses as to why the timing wasn't right for her to start her own business, even though she would love to. And when we really dug down to it, she realized that she had a deep fear of failure and of disappointing those that she loved, in particular, her parents who immigrated over from the Philippines when she was young. Her parents struggled to keep work going, so they always hung on to what they could get. She also simply didn't have the knowledge and the know-how to achieve this goal that she wanted to start her own business, which prevented her from even entertaining it. It stays as a nice thought to have, but her belief was it wouldn't be obtainable for her, thus keeping her stuck exactly where she was and on the path to burning out. Her reasoning why she could not accomplish more than what she was doing boils down to a learned belief that she's holding on to about herself. This is a learned behavior through and through from the environment she grew up in, and as well, what she repetitively thought, which created the resistant emotions she felt during regarding doing more within her career. Those repetitive thoughts, whatever they were expressed through her actions or even her inaction, which kept her getting the same expected outcomes over and over, which is why she worked for the same spa for so long. Regardless of what the reason is behind why she was remaining at this low-paying job, she will never break free unless she consciously understands what the belief is that is keeping her stuck. Once she understands what is mentally and energetically blocking her from achieving more than what she's doing right now, she can then begin to consciously alter that subconscious programming to one that serves her and grows her as an industry professional, which also will have a more holistic improvement on other areas of her life as well. Once a person learns how their outcomes are determined by all of these factors, which ultimately boils down to beliefs and formed subconscious habits, then they can begin to dismantle and disarm what they once thought was the truth of how things are supposed to be for them and about who they are and what they're even worthy of or not worthy of. And then they can begin to insert and strengthen new beliefs that are more in alignment with what they consciously want for themselves. As you can see here, the stick person in action shows that your conscious repetitive thoughts are impressed onto your subconscious mind through emotion. So the top half is conscious mind, bottom half of the top circle is your subconscious mind, and obviously the bottom circle is your body. So that's impressed on the subconscious mind through emotion, which is translated as behavior, which is acted out through the physical body. And therefore, it produces the results that anyone gets in any certain area. In my book, Massage Therapist Success Mindset, I wrote about the success principles that I've used on myself and with other body workers to help them bridge the gap between what they want in their careers and actually achieving it. I also talk about my own journey through overcoming my fears and taking the risks that I needed to take and act on to start my own wellness center when I was just a year fresh out of massage school. Over the years, I've been lucky enough to have studied and mentored with some pretty amazing thought leaders like Bob Proctor from the 2006 movie documentary The Secret, Angela Lauria from the 2019 documentary Weight of Success. The one thing that consistently keeps coming up with everyone I learn from and study the material of is that in order to change anything for the better, you first must understand what it is you truly want. Not what your brother wants for you, not what your sister wants for you, not what your mother or father or spouse wants for you, what you truly want, and then articulate it into a clear goal that you base almost all of your decisions around. The problem that most people face, however, is that they don't know what they want. And then they become frustrated because when they can't figure it out right away because they don't know. However, you cannot get to that place of knowing what you want when your mental conditioning has you homed in on where you're stuck and what's not working for you. When you are fixated on what's not working, you are strengthening a limiting belief that is active in your subconscious mind, which places you in a vibrational, emotional state of feeling stuck and feeling frustrated. So even if those opportunities did actually show up for you in your experience, you probably wouldn't see them as opportunities if you even noticed them at all. Have you ever heard the saying, can't see the forest for the trees? When you're in a perpetual, repetitive cycle of negative thought, emotion, and negative behavior toward what isn't currently working, you are unable to consciously step outside of your current circumstances in order to make different decisions that will give you different outcomes. However, you must start somewhere. So I implore you to begin doing as much research as you can on how your mind operates to create the reality that you currently experience. And as well, begin taking those actions necessary, such as setting big and small goals for yourself to begin creating a new momentum, one toward positive, incremental improvement. For some people, this will happen quite quickly once they start to get it and really get into it. And for others, like myself, it might take a little bit longer for that to actually start manifesting and happening. You know, when I was building this particular presentation, I was trying to figure out what I can give you to begin to take action on to help you start shifting your own limiting subconscious programs, and to also give you a head start on taking your power back and to start getting different results. I decided that the best way I can get you started is by sharing with you 3 of my favorite Mindhack techniques for reprogramming your subconscious mind that you can begin incorporating in your everyday to start quickly building that momentum for those desired outcomes that you're wanting to experience. The absolute secret to the outcomes you're going to get from these types of exercises comes through the repetition of the application of them. Very much like starting a workout routine to gain muscle or to lose weight as your goal, you do not see those changes occur within just a few days of doing it. And just like working out and eating healthy, you must consciously create a new habit of doing it. The thing is that we have been practicing the old way of doing things for so long that it takes a little while to start getting out of it. But again, some people see those results very quickly. And some people, it takes a little bit longer to do so. And just as a reminder, again, habits are run by your subconscious mind. Most of them are so small, you aren't even consciously aware that you're doing them. So you must utilize that 5% of conscious awareness that we talked about before to lead a new habit into creation. And that is only done through repetition of information and action. If you only do it a few times and then go back to practicing those old non-productive habits that are not in alignment with what you want to accomplish for yourself, I don't want you to waste your time, because quite frankly, you're not going to see results from it. That is why decision-making and dedicated follow-through on things that might scare and excite you at the same time is really important. So come back to this stuff when you're ready to challenge yourself, and give it at least 21 days, give or take, to begin forming that new habit. Then, just like bathing yourself each day, this will become a very easy and natural thing for you to do. This is about planting the seeds of what you want and then watering those seeds each day through your thoughts and emotions that are in alignment with that thing that you're wanting to achieve for yourself. All right, so if you're multitasking right now, I ask that you come back to me, because you're not going to want to miss these 3 mind hacks. So let's jump into the first one. The first powerful mind hack technique I'd like to share with you is called the self-interview technique. I came up with this on my own. Maybe it's been done before. If it has, great. But it worked well on me. I found amazing success with dramatically shifting my confidence in how I appear to others, using this exercise on a regular basis. This mind hack exercise is also really good if you tend to come up against things like imposter syndrome. So let me explain to you how this works. If you want to become it, you must act as if it's already happening for you. This is probably one of the most overlooked aspects of consciously reprogramming your subconscious mind to create the results that you want. And it's what I call imagined reality. You will notice that there is a theme with all of these mind hack techniques that I will be sharing with you, and that is your subconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between if you're experiencing something in real time or if it's something that you're just making up in your imagination. That is why you can have an adverse physical reaction to simply observing something else that you're not doing. So, for example, maybe you see somebody biting into a fresh sour lemon, and then your jaw begins to tingle, even though you're not the one that's biting into that lemon. Or I'm sure you're all familiar with this, excuse me, that feeling where your stomach begins to turn when you watch somebody about to bungee jump off of a great height. That is your subconscious mind. Remember, your subconscious mind accepts the thoughts that you give it as a fact, okay? It cannot reject information, it can only accept it. However, you still have to tap into the right state to be able to impress the information that you're wanting to begin creating into reality for you, especially if you have a negative belief around it. If you ever want to begin embodying something that you feel you can improve on, like increase confidence in your business, or to create even a more abundant relationship with money, better relationship with your clients, seeing yourself as the expert in what you do, or even discovering and specializing in your massage niche, you must play a part and act as if that thing is already happening for you in your imagination. It all starts in the imagination. This is more so about convincing your subconscious mind to adopt a new set of instructions versus ordering it to do so. Because right now, your mind, it has a set of instructions that it's playing out, and it will stay on course to those instructions unless you consciously instruct it otherwise. A way to know if you have a deep-rooted subconscious belief about something is that if you think about a success that you want to achieve, and if you have a great deal of fear around it, then all these excuses start popping up in your head. That is your subconscious mind trying to keep that program active because it believes that that is its operandi. It's the program that it must live by. Using your imagination and putting emotion into your thoughts is one of the quickest ways to put your subconscious to work to creating new programs and some new wanted outcomes. So in this exercise, I'll get to what you're supposed to do here. So in this exercise, I want you to imagine that you're being interviewed about the success of reaching a big goal, one that you've set for yourself. And no, I'm not talking about your past experiences. I'm talking about your very near future successes. Remember, you're wanting to convince your subconscious mind that this is what you want it to work toward. In order to do that, you must convince it that this is actually happening for you. I want you to use your imagination to its full potential, kind of like you were once able to do when you were a kid, and send messages to your subconscious mind that this is indeed your new reality. Part of the problem that I find is that we as adults have lost our ability to use our imagination. We were often told when we were kids to stop daydreaming and pay attention, do your math homework, do your science and biology and calculus. And we were told to stop using our imagination. So we need to reactivate that and re-trigger that because your imagination is key. Once you have a mental image in your mind of how you're going to talk about reaching your big audacious goal and about how successful that journey has been for you, get out your voice recorder app on your phone. We pretty much all have one, and answer the questions aloud in a conversational format, exactly like you're being interviewed. Pretend that you're being interviewed in a success magazine, and there are a set of questions that someone has asked you about what you have accomplished. Feel free to even write out those questions ahead of time to use as your guide to what you're going to talk about. I don't recommend, I don't recommend writing an actual script. Rather, speak from the emotion and the imagination of yourself already being there and already living it. Again, the key here is emotion, because without emotion, your subconscious mind, it won't absorb the information that you're giving it. Once you have recorded your imagined interview, listen to the recording back in the following days while you're doing mundane tasks like cleaning or walking the dog or driving your car. Get yourself back into the emotion of being that person. Get into the flow of that frequency, the emotion of it. Feel the joy and excitement that comes with it. Convince your subconscious mind that this is actually happening for you. Again, if you give yourself permission to play with your imagination in this way, like you used to do as a child, you will begin shifting your self-image in lightning speed because you're creating a new identity, a new identity of self that your subconscious mind must eventually accept as fact. If you don't like listening to yourself speak, then you can just do this activity many times over without recording it. It's up to you. It's whatever works for you and your comfort level. So just put your own spin on it. The second technique I want to share with you that I've recently begun doing, and I've found a giant shift within my own self-image, are third-person affirmations. Third-person affirmations are a bit different than normal I am type affirmations that talk in the first person. So here's how it works. Instead of saying I am successful, you would say in its place, your name then is successful. Obviously putting your own name in that space. So Richard is successful. So, or instead of saying I am always attracting paying clients, you would say your name then is always attracting paying clients. I'm sure you get the idea of how this goes. What makes this technique so powerful is because it confuses the subconscious paradigm, which is just a fancy word for belief structure. And it reduces the resistance that you might feel if your current belief is not in alignment with what you want. Remember that knowing doing gap that we were talking about? This helps with that. What I mean by this is that you have something you consciously want for yourself, but you might have a deep-rooted subconscious belief or paradigm that tells you something different. So for example, you might want to start your own wellness center, but you have a subconscious belief that you're not smart enough to run a business. This technique gets you disassociating yourself from that current limiting self-image and then adopting a new perspective with much less resistance attached, because you're not saying I am, you're talking about yourself. It's a preferred perspective that you'll want to embody. When you use third-person affirmations, your subconscious mind hears your name being spoken about and it perks up. Think about it like this. When you hear your name being spoken in a group of people, among people talking, you would more than likely immediately begin paying attention and think, who said my name? Now, don't get me wrong as well. I am exercises are still highly effective if done under the right circumstances, but I find this even more so. Again, it really activates that imagination mental faculty, which is ultimately the main ingredient in what creates our reality and the outcomes that we get from it. As a reminder, don't forget to attach the emotion to what it feels like to have already had the thing that you want to achieve. Emotion is truly the key to changing information in your subconscious mind. Act from that desire, not about the desire. The third and final technique is called a letter from your future self. This mind hack exercise is probably the most comforting and powerful exercise I personally have ever done for creating a shift in my own confidence. This technique, if done multiple times, it can quite literally develop a more loving and supportive relationship between two of the most important people on this planet, you and you. If you are not able to become your own biggest cheerleader and your own biggest support, then you will always be looking outside of yourself for validation from others to feel better about yourself, which is exactly in alignment with what we were talking about at the beginning of this presentation about your thoughts not being your own. Unfortunately, what most people don't understand is that even if they had someone tell them how amazing they are and how talented they are, they probably wouldn't accept it as truth, depending on an already embedded belief that they have. Instead, they would believe it way more if someone said they were a failure or a fraud. This is because it validates the current belief that is running in their subconscious mind. I hope that you are starting to see how this whole subconscious mind thing works. The relationship between you and you, it should really be the most important one that you ever foster. This is why this work is so important. And really, it should be the only one that you truly value the opinion of. And that can be whatever it is that you want it to be. So this exercise is going to help you develop that relationship between you and you. I also have a recording on my YouTube channel called A Simple Mind Hack Technique That Will Positively Change Your Life. It's about that, which you can check out and get an even more in-depth explanation of this exercise. So if you pop on YouTube, just search the title of it on YouTube, watch the video, follow the directions, and start writing. I also suggest having a dedicated notebook just for future scripting exercises. Journaling is so powerful. I recommend picking one or two of these mind hacks and doing each one for several weeks at a time. Then try scheduling them in your calendar and put reminders in your phone to hold you accountable, and dedicate yourself to one or two of them and stick with it. Because remember, it's repetition. Your job here is not to command your subconscious mind to adopt new beliefs. It's to persuade it, to persuade it through that repetition. You're trying to convince your subconscious mind, not command it. Do it each day and watch yourself begin feeling differently in no time. Well, there you have it. It's my hopes that within our time here that we've spent together, that I've given you much to contemplate and much to think about. I like to think of myself as a student of the mind, and I'm always learning and implementing new ways of shifting my awareness of who I am and what I can achieve, so I can transfer this knowledge that I'm learning and applying to myself back to you, and watch you beginning to do the same thing for yourself. And if I could leave you with anything right now, it would be for you to adopt the beginning stages of a new sense of self-awareness and an interest in also becoming a student of the mind, so that you can use everything you learn to better yourself and everyone you encounter and everyone you meet, including your own clients. So that being said, thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and please go download my book on Amazon, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and come join us in the Massage Therapist Success Mindset Facebook group if you're not in it already. And if you have any questions or comments, or want to work with me for your own professional growth and development, you can either visit my course pages at mtsuccessmindset.com or email me directly at hello@richardjplatt.com. So there you have it. Thanks again. And back to you, Mark and Amanda.